So when you think about self-care, there's so much, so much information available, so much that is available for us to try and experiment, whether it be from the foods perspective or from the yoga perspective or from the lifestyle perspective. So obviously it's quite confusing because you don't know what to go ahead with, because there's so many options available. What is it that's going to work for you? What is it that's not going to work for you? So after living on different kinds of foods, different kinds of diets, practicing yoga for so many years, and then bringing about so many shifts in my diet and lifestyle, there are three things that I have now settled down to, because it's not possible that you include or keep experimenting with 10 different things. Consistency is the key when it comes to taking care of your own self. So these are some of the self-care practices now that I've shortlisted for myself, which of course starts with taking care of yourself from the right kind of foods. But then I now don't get into all the researches and all that media coming up with this food is good for you and this is not good for you. I live by the principles of hope, which I covered in my last video. H stands for hormones, so I make sure that the lifestyle practices and the foods that I consume are supporting my hormones. O for oxygen, I consume a lot of oxygen rich foods as well as practice yoga, which helps me oxygenate well. Third thing is phytonutrients, which means automatically when you're consuming a lot of plant-based foods, you're consuming a lot of different compounds that these plants have, which are super healing for you, that also build you from inside. And fourthly, it is about energy. So I practice practices which do not consume my energy. And from the yoga perspective, I had been practicing a lot of aggressive forms of yoga, power yoga. I tried my hands on Ashtanga yoga and it felt really good. But then, over time you have to realize how your gradually body wants to slow down, and then you have to bank on to certain practices that helps your body slow down rather than putting you in a rush mode, because if you see, we are in a rush mode all the time. So it's the hatha yoga kind of practices or the yin yoga kind of practices that I more rely on for my own self-care, because you really need to get into that relaxation mode equally as much as you get into that activity or hyper mode through the day. And from the lifestyle perspective, I've really cleaned out my home. I've cleaned out my self-care shelf. I've cleaned out my pantry. So what exists in my pantry, in my house, and in my mind now is knowing what is it that's going to keep my energy levels up, because everything is energy. If we can maintain your energy day in day out on a regular basis, your aging process really slows down inside the body. And this is what you ought to do. You need to make sure that internal deterioration does not happen much, and what's going on inside the body is going to show up on your face, on your skin, on your body, everywhere. So if you can manage to make sure that your internal functioning is working fine, then you can be rest assured that your aging process will really slow down.